Hi everyone, it's Jerry. This is a round one game from the 2016 Tal Memorial, the 10th Tal Memorial. And in round one, we witnessed an unusual first round game, an atypical game, a chess miniature, some may say, a 23 mover, before someone threw in the towel. So let's see who that someone would be. This is the game between Jan Nepomniachtchi playing on the white end and Evgeny Tomashevsky. Let's have a look. E4, E5. What kind of opening disaster would take place? This is the Scotch game. To be a bit more exact, we have with E5 the Mieses variation. Okay, this knight is under fire. Where is he going to go? Nowhere. Queen e7. Little pin. That is now broken. This knight now needs to find a new home. D5 it is. Neither bishop is so ecstatic from this position, but okay. Queens are in their way for both sides. C4. Where is he going to go? Nowhere. He's stubborn. Yet again, another pin present. B3, new possibilities for the queen bishop, and securing C4. Black prepares to fianchetto, and F4 has a multi-purpose. What is that exactly? Well, for one, and this is the only reason I saw when I initially skimmed through the game, and that is to lend support to E5 so this queen could go elsewhere. But there's another idea. Revealed soon enough. Bishop G7, Queen F2. A new square is available for the queen. And with this move comes a threat against the knight, since there's no longer a pin. And a big moment for black. Where to go with the knight? In the game, it was knight to F6. See what just happened there? Take note of the time, Tomashevsky's time. 85 minutes remain. 51 minutes now remain. Nearly 35 minutes was spent on this move. What may have been one of the lines he was considering, calculating? Well, let me just point out one interesting one. And it's one that is having the knight drift forward into white's position here. Drift towards the queen's side. Knight b4 is a move. The big question here is, what is the knight now going to do should white play a3? Well, black does have something. What is that something, though? Well, here comes some tactics now. Bishop takes e5. Pawn takes. This, again, may have been one of the variations Tomaszewski was calculating and trying to, in the end, weigh whether or not, who stands better. Knight c2 can follow with the fork, taking advantage of the pin. King f2, the queens are exchanged, the rook is captured, but white has this fork right back. Who stands better? Who would you rather here? The side with the two minor pieces, the bishop and knight here for white, versus the rook and two pawns. In the computer's eyes, it prefers team white. Two minor pieces are quite strong. So I'm highlighting this because, well, quite a good chunk of time was spent. I'm not saying all of the time was spent on this line by any means, but I just wanted to highlight one, let's just say, interesting line at least, one arriving at an unbalanced endgame. Okay, well, in the game it was knight to f6, bishop a3, d6. This is just, I don't know, maybe they should change the name, this variation, to the pin variation. There's not just multiple pins going on in the moves played in this game, but I'd like to highlight one other line here instead of this d6 move, which is just completely wacky. This is an important moment in the game and a turning point in the game. Not only just this last move, knight to f6, where a huge chunk of time was spent on that move, but this next move as well is very important. The game's move was d6. After knight c3, it really now starts to be black who is on their heels. Black castles, queenside castles, knight e8 follows, so something has clearly gone wrong for Team Black. I'd like to just highlight one more variation, and it's at this moment here. Are you ready for this move? This is definitely computer chess right here. What do you do when your queen is attacked? You ignore it. Your computer. There's this move, knight to e4, attacking the queen. Who's going to pull this one off? Are you ready? Now, if the queen goes to e2, there's queen to h4. Okay, this is a problem. This would be a problem for white, taking advantage of this pin. Okay, but the queen could go to e3, so now what do you do as black? I wonder if you can spot the move. If you'd like to, go ahead, pause the video. What would you do in this position as black? Okay, here's the move. Just having a little fun here. It's an interesting game. A brief game, an interesting game, interesting possibilities. Knight to e4, right? Here's a star move. Knight d6. Wow. Breaking a pin against the... or placing your knight in a pin in order to pin the pawn to the queen. And if that's not enough, we have another pin going on. The pawn is pinned to the rook. Pins every which way. Pin city. This is the pin city variation. Okay? Queen e2. There's now f6. Who's going to find this? Who's going to find this line? Pawn takes knight. Queen takes queen. King takes queen. Why are you taking with the queen? Or why are you taking with the, why would you take with the king in this case? Well, at the end of all of this, there's now the move f5. And how are you saving the rook? The only way you do that is by playing knight to c3. Hence, why we captured on e2 with the king here. Bishop takes knight. Rook d1. We've gone far enough. Maybe too far. Nearly as far as the game plays out. But quite an interesting line where it's just pins every which way. Pins against this pawn in multiple ways. A pin here against the knight. Crazy stuff. But yeah, who's going to find this move here? Knight to e4 and reply to bishop a3. Yeah, it's a tough find, to say the least. Well, let's see what happened in the game. d6 on board. Knight c3. Castles. Castles. The knight has to go back, so already, yeah, something has clearly gone wrong. If we have an open position, just from a general, we could look at all the specifics, we could look at all the concrete lines here, but just general considerations. We have what? We have an open position, and we have a knight that's getting rocked back to rank 1 status. Not cool at all. And what are his prospects? He's not having a tough, he's having a tough day. He's not having a good day. Okay, let's see what follows. g3, bishop b7, tough to suggest anything at all for Team Black. Bishop g2, f6, trying to break down this e5 pawn. He finally goes away, and this was the big source of Black's problems. That pawn on e5, it was not, let's say, this pawn, once in Black's position, was not addressed well enough. And this is really what was leading to this opening disaster. E takes d. Knight takes. c5. Knight f5. What else is there for the knight? If he goes here, we can capture the knight because we got this pin going on against the c-pawn. Knight f5. Rook h1. What a very nice... Sometimes chess could look so simple, right? beautiful centralization, both rooks killing all center squares, guarding all center squares. Both bishops pointing at least in the direction of these center squares. The knight, I'm just having fun at this point painting. John Madden mode engaged. Queen f7. And finally, well, it's not the last move, but you might as well consider it the last move. Bishop f1, an underdeveloping move. Where is he headed? To c4. That's a killer. It's not just the threat of a pin against the queen. It's not the threat of a the bishop is not threatening to pin the queen to the king. Not only is that the threat, I should say, but just to trap the queen. This king could be in the corner. Just to illustrate, if it's something like this, let's just assume this is the last move right now. The threat is to simply trap the queen. Just what's making matters worse is that there's also a very valuable piece, let's say, on g8. That's a killer. The simple rerouting of the bishop, the queen is without any squares because of these two guns here on the D and E file. So let's see what's tried. Not too much can be tried here. Rook f to d8. Pair of rooks is off, but there we go. Bishop c4, how to save the queen. You got to play something like rook to d5, and this is just gone. In the computer's eyes, it's already +5. Final move of the game, before resignation, queen e2. And we're just preparing to enter here as white, and there's not a good way to prevent the exchange of queens. Black is soon, at any moment, to be down the exchange, and then some. One of the major pieces here, white's rook will soon be activated and very difficult to control. As an example, bishop f8. We can invade right away. There's no reason to cash out and take that rook. He's going nowhere. We like to keep pins. Queen takes queen. If the game followed, we can have something like this. King f7, and whoa. What are you doing about your bishop? What are you doing about your rook? Yeah. Black resigned. There's just nothing good here at this point. No need to carry it out any further. Opening disaster. And again, it was related to this e5 pawn. If we just cycle back to this moment right here, there was a better way to address the e5 pawn. Now, I know I was showing that little wacky line here in reply to bishop a3, this knight to e4 followed up with knight to d6. What a bizarre line. But before you even get to that point here, this was a big moment. The decision to play bishop g7. In the computer's eyes, the better move is d6, which is immediately challenging the e5 pawn. And a difference here is that if the bishop is playing to a3, let's just have a look at what happened in the game, just to recap here. After f4 was played, we had bishop g7, queen f2, and then knight to f6. Suppose instead we had d6. Okay? And now queen to f2 is played. After knight to f6 and bishop to a3, the only difference now being d6 has been played instead of bishop g7. What black can do from this position is play queen to e6. And this is getting out of this pin and doing what? Threatening to take out this thorn that's in black's position, the e5 pawn. Bishop e2, we can capture on e5. So this is something, this is an adjustment to the game. This moment right here, move 10. Instead of bishop g7, you can immediately add some fuel to the e5 pawn with a pawn and try to take it out right away in reply to moves like queen to f2. But yeah, the e5 pawn was not challenged swiftly enough, we might say, and that, I believe, is what led to this chess miniature, this 23 mover. Anyhow, it's an interesting game. I had fun reviewing it, especially with those little wacky lines and pins every which way. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and maybe even got a thing or two from it. Okay, that's all for now. Feel free to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below, and I will catch you in the next one. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.